Yo, England vs Mexico. 3-2. Game of the tournament. What are we saying? Yeah, goals. The woodwork got hit. Penalties. VAR. Bad refereeing. Good refereeing. Red cards. Goal line clearances. Crazy atmosphere. Altitude. The Azteca Stadium looking and feeling like a coliseum. Passion. Moments of brilliant. Like, this game had everything. And it had jeopardy because it's a knockout game at the end of the day. So yeah, I think it's up there definitely for one of the best games of the tournaments. However, this tournament in general has just been given and given and given. So don't be surprised if the next game, Spain and Portugal, doesn't top it. Don't be surprised. But yeah, in terms of the overall, like, off the pitch, the whole build up, the atmosphere, everything surrounding this game, the weather, even the weather contributed. It's like it was all set for a brilliant game and it didn't disappoint. So let's get into it. A quick word before we do get into it though, for Mexico. You probably only have 2 or 3, if we're being realistic, 2 or 3 maximum players that get anywhere near an England squad. When you consider the players that we've left at home, 2 or 3 players maximum that's getting there at England squad. So, and that's on paper, obviously, but you wouldn't know it on the pitch. The way they play international football, they play it with so much passion and conviction. It's wonderful to watch. You have to kind of enjoy it. Although they're the opposition, you have to admire it. But yeah, back to England. Literally weathered the storm. And when I mean literally, there was an actual storm going on and we had to weather the storm in the first minutes. The storm that Mexico brought. They showed some threat. They showed some threat which made us know we're in a game here. Don't think, we're just going to bop these lot off the park because really and truly they're not on our level. No, I think the first 20 minutes let England know, okay, yeah, get ready to go to war. And that's what they did, because after 20 minutes, England started to show some threat. England started to start playing some football. And you saw Declan Rice make that charging run, carry the ball from his own half of the pitch to the final third, lay it off to Saka, who stood up a lovely dink, stood up across to the back post on his weaker foot, and who else but Jude to apply the finishing touch. Seconds later, another Jude goal, after Anderson nicked it. When he jumped in the press, he nicked it and gave it to Jude, who played a 1-2 with Harry Kane, but I don't think Harry Kane was going to oblige the 2 for the 1-2. However, Jude did put a little bit too much on the pass, which took him a little bit out wide. So, do you know what I mean? It made sense now to give him that 2. And obviously, who else is there but Jude to bundle the ball home? So right now, we're 2-0 up. We're 30 plus minutes in, and it's looking like, we either get another one and just kill the game off before halftime, or we see it out to halftime and then, manage the game for the second 45 minutes. But no, Mexico was not going to go down without a fight. So just before halftime, Saka gives away a free kick. And from the resulting set piece, Mexico score. The impressive, and I mean for the whole tournament, not just this game, the impressive Quinones, I probably messed up his name, but the black Mexico player, I think they said he was born in Colombia, left wing, top scorer out in Saudi amongst the likes of Benzema, Cristiano Ronaldo, Ivan Toney, and so on and so on and so on. Top scorer out there. And what's this? It must be like his, 4th goal in the World Cup? Fourth goal in the World Cup. He's had an outstanding tournament. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him in Europe after these performances. That's if, you know what I mean, big bucks. That's if money don't speak, then we would see him in Europe. But yeah, Mexico applied pressure for the remaining of the half. And luckily, England saw it out and got to the halfway point, 2-1 up. About 10 minutes into the second half, Gerald Conso, who had a brilliant game up until that point, then charges in with a sliding tackle. Everyone can see he didn't mean to hurt the player, but he wanted to play. He tried to take ball and he tried to take everything. You know that expression when they say the defender came in and took everything, ball, man, everything. Yeah, he done one of those ones. He charged into it, but what he did is he started a little bit high, so then his boot rolled over the top of the ball and landed on the Mexican player's calf, on his shin. Obviously, now this is where things get contentious, because we've seen players get away with these tackles. We've seen players not get away with these tackles. We've seen players sent off. We've seen red cards rescinded. We've seen players not even get a booking. So it's all up in the air at this point. But I think it was pretty unanimous that when everyone saw the referee go into the VAR screen, it was going to be a red card. And that's what it was. So yeah, now England are back on the back foot now. And you're kind of thinking any minute now Mexico are going to get the equaliser. But no, Pickford launches one upfield. Kane contests with the defender. It ends up coming off the defender's head, bouncing off Kane's shoulder. Gordon anticipates, the ever-willing runner, showing why it was correct for him to get the starting position, and he got onto the ball before the keeper and won a penalty. Throughout the game, I think Gordon, he knows how to win free kicks. He was like winning sneaky free kicks he shouldn't be winning, but he just knows how to win a free kick. But it was intelligent, because it was in areas of the pitch where it just took the pressure off of England a little bit. But yeah, like I said, he won the penalty. Kane stepped up after a little, delay in tactics from the Mexicans, but Kane steps up, smashes it into the back of the net. Not long after that, though, Kane gives away a penalty. So we're 3-1 up at this point. We're thinking, okay, 10 man, 3-1 up. Let's see this game out. But then Kane gives away a penalty, defending in his box. He's kicked the bottom of the boot of a Mexican player. Obviously, Raul Jimenez, one of the best penalty takers in the world, steps up, casually does the stutter run up that everyone talks about. Don't do the stutter run up. You'll miss if you do the stutter run up. One of the best penalty takers in the world, does a stutter run up and scores. 3-2. Mexico hit us with wave after wave of attacks, bombarding us with crosses for the last 20 minutes plus extra time, which was 11 minutes. So you might as well say half an hour plus. On came the cavalry, though. At this point, we had Stones, Burn, Spence defending the box like warriors. You know what I mean? Spence was on left wing, left back at this point. 5 at the back. So we had left back Spence stopping every cross, being backed up by Gordon. We had Conso doing the same thing on the right side. Then he brought on Rodgers as well to help Conso on that right side. Conso was blocking every cross, winning every duel, literally. Then you had Dan Burn, Gay, and Stones centrally in that defence, just winning every duel, every battle, every aerial duel. They were winning. If they weren't winning, they're getting the first, they were getting the second. They were backing each other up. A lot of high fives, good communication as well. You saw a couple of times, obviously there's communication to make the defender aware, particularly John Stones, that one where it was dropping over his head and we're thinking, everyone probably screaming at the TV, leave it! And yeah, somehow that message obviously was communicated with him and he left it and he went out for a goal kick. So yeah, there was some brilliant defending. Pickford again, taking the pressure off of his defenders, coming out for numerous crosses, but I wasn't worried for once. He's coming out off of his line and I'm confident he's going to catch or punch this ball and everything's going to be okay. And that's how it played out. Like I said, Rodgers came on to add extra legs in the midfield, but strangely, I was thinking, he's going to get Tony on or Watkins on, because at this point, Kane was ineffective up front. He can't he ain't he ain't got the ability to press like that. And then he wasn't winning his duels anymore, and then he wasn't a threat in behind. So we had to get Kane off. But I was thinking Tony to hold it up or Watkins to add that running threat in behind. But instead, Tuchel put on Rodgers. Obviously, like I said, he made Rodgers play on that right side of midfield to back up Konsa, and he told Bellingham to go up top. Bellingham bloody turned into R9, occupying 3 centre halves, just led the line like a seasoned target man, winning throw-ins, duels. He even tried to lob the keeper. Tried to lob the keeper from the halfway line. Like, I'm telling you, yeah. Brilliant performance from Bellingham. Let's move on though. Positives and negatives, yeah, to take from this game. Because we have to look forward slightly to Saturday. So the positives, I would say, was the lineup. The positives was the manager. He got the lineup spot on. Even the right back decision with Joe Consul, although he got a red card, listen, he shut me up because I've been the first one to be on Twitter and whatnot and be skeptical and criticize the right back selection spot and whatnot. But Quansah was brilliant. So I think the lineup for this Mexico game was spot on. There was a nice balance where you had Rice and Saka on the right side linking up well. You had Jude, where I think he's better on the left side, linking up well with Gordon, who was going beyond Harry Kane. And that kind of... So when we were defending with basically in a 4-4-2, because then what that does is gives Kane support in his press with Jude. So Jude kind of steps up with Kane and does a lot of his pressing for him. So we was defending in a 4-4-2. When we were attacking, Jude would then not so much play as a 10, more play as a left 8. Rice was a right 8. And then Anderson was in a single pivot. So what this does now, it allows Kane the space to drop in because there's no 10 there where there's 2 players getting in the same space. Kane can drop in. Now you got Jude running on. You got Rice running on. You got Saka out wide. You got Gordon out wide. And it just made a more balanced England performance. So yeah, what else? Yeah. I think Saka done well. Saka showed that he can start games. Probably can't finish them, but he can start games. And what Saka gives you is that end product. That bit of quality at the end, in the final third. Also, what Saka gives you is a defensive nous. Saka was sound defensively. He was getting back to help out Quansah. Do you know what I mean? He was realizing when he needs to tuck in even, because when you're defending in a 4-4-2, your wingers can't be wide. They have to tuck in and be attached to their centre midfielders. So Saka knew when to do that and when not to do that. Negatives, I say the nerves. I think the nerves was a big negative early on, especially first 20-30 minutes before we got the goal, basically. I think the nerves affected everyone apart from Pickford, Jude, and maybe Joe Quansah. I think everyone else was affected by the nerves. I think Ezri Quansah especially, he had the worst performance due to nerves in that first 20-30 minutes. I think Gay was affected. O'Reilly, you know what I mean? Their distribution just wasn't positive. It was very conservative. Declan Rice wasn't really... He was conservative even in his movement. Anderson was subdued. Gordon, everyone was affected. Saka, even Kane. I think only Jude, Pickford and Quansah was played at the same level from minute 1 to minute 101. So yeah, I think we need to learn to deal with the nerves better, because against better teams in that first 20 minutes, half an hour, you could be punished. So by the time you kind of get rid of the nerves, you're already a goal or 2 down. So we need to work on that. And I think throughout the game, the one criticism I had was we had no control over the tempo. The game was very transitional, which suits us, but it suits them as well. Especially when we are in the advantage, when we're in the driving seat. We now need to dictate the tempo, know when to slow the game down, know when to keep the ball ticking. And we just lacked that little bit of nous, or we lacked that type of player, which is why I'm still surprised that Maino hasn't got any minutes. And we sat too deep at times. At times we sat too deep, very early on as well. You have to remember, from about the 70-minute mark, we was basically on our 18-yard box. On the 18-yard line, we were defending our 18-yard box from the 70th minute. Bearing in mind there was another 11 minutes extra time, that's 31 minutes. And we wasn't keeping the ball when we were playing up. We were literally just clearing our lines and the ball's coming straight back. Obviously, we're playing a team in Mexico who are a little bit more limited than other teams going forward in terms of their creativity, because Mexico are a team that score most of their goals on transitions. So now we're sitting deep. They're not really equipped to break us down as much. They ain't got as much creativity to break us down. But when we move on into the competition and play better teams, especially when you keep giving the ball straight back and you're sitting deep so early on, we could get punished. You can't give them the opportunity to cross the ball so much to Haaland. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, that was a negative. And knowing when to jump in the press, Anderson done it well for the second goal. But in general, I felt like even if you sit deep, you gotta jump out and press at times. But we rarely did it. We rarely did it. So yeah, and then the last negative is the red card, because what that does is it opens up that dilemma again, that conversation again of who is like what's gonna happen at right back, because we've now got Quansah, who we thought solved it. I thought solved it, and now he's gonna got a red card, so he's not gonna be available for the next game at least. So yeah, apart from that, I think Tuchel got the sub spot on. So for Tuchel as a manager, I think, yeah, I've been fairly critical of him, but I have to give him praise when it's due. I think against Croatia as well, he showed his worth with the way the team reacted in the second half, and I think from the starting lineup from minute one, I think he got it spot on. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. Just said it. Like, subscribe, and hype. Peace.